Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Shad. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. So, what are we going to talk about? I wanted to talk about community and Twinkies. Community and Twinkies. Especially the primate community. So, when living in a occupied land, such as kangaroo land or fish and chips land, and of course here in milk and honey land, you notice that there's a thing called AUKUS, right? And there seems to be a push to have these three lands the same. And we see what they're doing in kangaroo land. We see what they're doing in fish and chips land. That's what they want to do here. They want to make it that AUKUS. I guess that's the federation name now. And who knows? Maybe there be some type of merging of the forces, if you will. So, what I wanted to really talk about is how to live and operate in these lands. How to Sicario. You guys remember Sicario? So, there's a great story in history when Jerusalem fell to the Romans. Now, mind you, when the Romans attacked Jerusalem, it was a fight. It was actually one of the worst fighting that the Romans had ever faced. Yet they still persevered and took over. And enacted their totalitarian regime, in which they implemented all their everything that you're seeing today. They did. This has been going on for thousands of years. They changed the language. They changed the culture. They changed the religions, and they changed the heads of state, the authority figures. They coerced them into, hey, if you want to still keep your power, money, and control, do our bidding, and we won't freaking kill you and your whole family. That was the Roman way. And they did. And we all know about the stories of Jesus Christ and all that, and his 12 disciples. And they fought that battle. And the result of, Jesus basically martyring himself brought about the change for Jerusalem and ultimately freedom. But there was also something else. Sicario. You've seen the movie Sicario 1, Sicario 2, yeah. That concept was, think Assassin's Creed meets Israel and the Romans. That's what happens. These Sicario were hidden little dispatchers, or hashashin, as they would call them, because there was always this war of defacing, and that's where we get the name assassin from, is the word hashashin. It was a derogatory statement stating that these sicarios, these assassins, these killers, were pot smokers, and even back in the day, it had a negative connotation to it. So the name Hashashin came about, that these guys would anything to demonize, demonize and make the enemy look, something else than human, right? So it was some of the rumors were that these guys would go into a dark room, smoke a lot of hash, and plan their attack. And there might be some truth to it. We don't know, actually. But we do know that they were very effective. They would take out the heads of state that were in bed with the Romans. They would go for the actual Roman officials that were in the state. They required them to have more and more and more security. At which case they would infiltrate. Say they're the royal butt wiper or whatever, and then, and even if they got killed, they didn't care as long as the job was done. That whole, it's the self-sacrifice thing of the Sicario. A lot of them would do that just to get close to, it was quite the effective weapon. How do you fight, like basically the suicide attacker, the suicide assassin? And so that's what they would do. Anyway, I'm getting way off into, historical rants here. But that was the whole idea. How do you fight that? It's very hard to fight that. Just somebody out of nowhere that was carrying your water or wiping your butt or pouring your bath water, just all of a sudden just starts killing everybody. Oh shit! And didn't care if they were stabbed, cut. They didn't care if bodily harm was given to them. They didn't care if they were imprisoned and tortured. They didn't care. They just wanted to fight. And such was the moxie of men back in the day. We still see that today, of course. But here, we don't have to resort to all that. we really don't. So being a primate and having a primate community requires community. The word community. So if you're going to operate in a occupied land, say milk and honey or fish and chips or kangaroos, you have to have support, and you also have to have surveillance. You also have to have intel. Intel and surveillance are your biggest weapons. Intel and surveillance. Who is in charge of the oppressing group, of the oppression in your area? Who? Actually, who? And who are their underlings? Who are they in charge of? Identify those folks. Identify, grab intel, and work accordingly. We have... Now, we are the best country in the world. Yes, that's true. I truly believe that, and I've been all over the world. Good places and bad. So I really truly believe that America, the Americans, are some of the best people in the world. That being said, the higher ups, the upper echelon, and the dark echelon, the sideways echelon, if you will, have been doing some very nefarious things from day one. It's very disturbing. Uh, so I, I write down these little quotes, and then I research them. This is a quote which I found from Winston Churchill. We sleep soundly in our beds because rough men stand ready in the night to visit violence on those who would do us harm. So it was originally believed that it came from George Orwell, in which it did not. It came from a journalist called McCleary, I think his name was. But he basically was reading a lot of George Orwell stuff, and that he kind of did the cliff notes on what he thought was what he said. And so then it went from there. It became a quote. Everybody because he said this is what George Orwell would say, kind of. And then everybody said, "Oh, George Orwell said that." No, he didn't. Anyway, the validity of it. Check out a quote verifier. I think it is. They do a lot of quote research. It's pretty neat. But the origin of that specific thing was actually done in jest. It was a during the Irish occupation, the British occupation of Ireland. They would say, "Oh, look at this! Good men stand ready to do violence." Ooh, it was kind of like a fuck you, because that's what they would do. These redcoats would basically, or blue coats, I forget, whatever. The British would go to many lengths to hold down the population, to oppress the population, and they did it through standing guard and having basically having a QRF ready to come in and grab folks, or to put down rebel rousers or whatever, and it was a kind of a joke. Oh, look, good men stand ready. Yeah, right. So it went the opposite direction, and Winston Churchill used it in one of his motivational speeches. So, as much as they are going to implement all this against the land that they're oppressing, I'm speaking modern day now, the primate community has to basically live in the shadows, basically live gray, very gray, and operate and gather intel, and that intel must go to other primate groups. So you have tiers, small unit leaderships, tribes, packs, primate packs, because families, and then from there it gets used in the actions. Anyway, whatever. I'm trying to be, what I'm trying to do. So throughout history, the local population of any kind of oppressed country, oppressed land, has always worked in the shadows to try and fight, and try to undermine the oppressors, with great success. And we're seeing that happen. We've been watching it happen to us on a large scale. You see the Blam and the Tuffas, those guys, and they're assisted by the alphabet soup, our own authority. And so we already know that this we're not even gonna, I'm just gonna say, yeah, we've been compromised. We are now completely surrounded, and they're just standing by. So slowly but surely building their noose around our necks, and we're actually kind of going, oh yeah, it's not too scratchy, yeah, not bad. Oh, you have to loosen it a little bit. Okay, tighten it up a little bit. So this kind of whole sadist, machoist kind of thing going on here, sadistic kind of shit. But that's how they operate. And so how does a primate community fight that? Well, there's one of two ways. In open revolt, open rebellion, which that's going to take everybody, man, woman, and child, all together, which is really hard to do. It's really, really, really hard to do. For whatever reason. Think about it. If you're a single male with a wife and kids, you've got a lot to lose. And you're working hard to grow your family and keep them safe. Probably your best bet is to get out, or play by the rules. So or to assist in whatever you can do, be it gathering intel, be it providing food, water, and shelter, and medical, and whatever you can do, spreading disinformation. You see the same tactics being used upon us, and that's more of a warping the hearts and minds of society and our children. What they're doing to our children in the school system is appalling, absolutely appalling. Why we're not rioting in the streets over that, I don't know. Actually, I do know. We're complacent. Convenient. It is convenient to just go ahead and forget those things. It doesn't exist. Yeah, right. So, anyway, it will become necessary in time to build a primate community. And it's going to take a lot of people. And you're going to have to also be careful of, counterinsurgents, counterintelligence. You're going to have to always be on the lookout for anyone who could be touched, who could be manipulated against you, which is easy to do, which is very easy to do. You do it by, threats, intimidation, promise of reward. A lot of spies get turned that way. You want $50,000? You want $150,000? Yeah. Happens all the time. The constitution of human is weak, and can be levied against them. So many men have been led to their deaths. The promise of reward. So how do you build a community when nobody's on board? There will come a time when there will be the necessity for it. We know this. It's better to begin in the beginning to start before you know it's coming, to set that up, being ever watchful against counterintelligence, intelligence, glowies, as they like to be called, the glowies, because they will infiltrate and figure you out. Look at what they're doing in the land of Maishaigen, with their, they're known for their large primate groups in communities. So what they do there sets the precedence for the rest of us. And they are willing and able to visit violence to us in the middle of the night. And nobody will know the difference. Nobody will care. If somebody asks, hey, what happened? Oh, it's just, routine operation. Nothing to see here. Go back to bed. Why are you asking questions? What's your name? Are you next? Did you know this person? So these things, it's been creeping up on us for quite some time. Yet the modern American does not really care too much for any of this crap. All they really care about is can I still get to work? Can I still pay my bills? Can I still have some beer? Can I still feed my kids? Can I still feed my dog? And whatever comes up, they deal with it. Taxes and whatever, bills, whatever. But and most people stay out of the eye. The eye of Saruman. They stay out of the eye. They don't want no trouble. They just want to go about their day, go about their business, and conduct their life accordingly. And so, for the most part, they don't mess around. They're not into guns and drugs and doing criminal activities. But there are folks out there that do. They're out there, and we know this because we have a robust police system, and their job is to stop these criminals, hunt them down, and bring them to justice. Or now they're talking about, well, you might be thinking about a crime, so yeah, remember that whole conspiracy thing? You had so what are they going to call that? The conspiracy to conspire to commit a crime? How are you going to know? I mean, what, just because of certain identifying markers in a social media, or what somebody said, or oh, look at that person, well, look at his background, and whatever. It's going to come a time when the authorities that we look up to and help and back and are going to be the enemy. That is the shift that we face. That is the existential threat. Is the end of freedom. And it's through a police state. This is worldwide. This is worldwide. And we are going to be the last ones. We're going to be completely surrounded. So, yeah. that whole thing that happened back in 245 years ago, it's going to happen again for us to even, and it's going to have to continuously happen. We're going to have to continuously fight and keep, and we're going to have to do a lot of maintenance here in our little continent, in our vast continent. The maple leaf has fallen. The Banana Republic down below, they do what they want. They're ruled by greed and corruption, but there's still freedom there. It's interesting, but they're no help, none whatsoever. I mean, hey, I love Mexico. I really do. I've been there a few times. Had a great time. Yeah. But yeah, it's not a good, not really a good place to live, I'd say. Some places are, but you better. It's a different kind of lifestyle. It really is. It's a different kind of country, ruled by cartels and corruption. Corrupt cops, corrupt government officials, corrupt everything. Everything is compromised and corrupt. But there is freedom. So with that being said, it's freedom for all. Well, so and a lot of places do their own justice. A lot of places don't rely on government officials or anything like that. They rely on their own to police their own. So cooking some bacon, yummy. But we see what's happening here. We're slowly being squeezed. We've got the pew pew. Absolutely, we got the pew pew amendment. Great, that's great. But you seen what they did? They just cut down the supply chain. We have been propped up for so long, getting stuff from the rest of the world, that what they say, props are dangerous. All you got to do is knock the prop out, cut down that supply, and things will start to deteriorate. And that's how you control. That's how they're going to control us. It's not going to be outright. We're not going to see. First off, we're not going to see what's going on in kangaroo land. We're not going to see that on our streets. It's going to be, you can't get anything. You can't get nothing. There will be no bacon. Excuse me, I got to check on the bacon. Oh yeah, it's done. Yeah, we got bacon. I like to stick it in the oven and cook it on a raised tray and get all the grease out of it. Most of the grease. I still like the grease. And, Charity does too. Yeah, we eat bacon. So, that's what they're going to do. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. We are seeing, it is a war of attrition. Food, water, supplies, essentials, beans, bullets, and band-aids. All that stuff is, you can't find ivermectin anymore. If you do, it's thousands of dollars. Our water supply is ran by the authorities. All it needs to do is just take a whoop, there you go, hit a button. No more water for you. Power. Look what happened to Texas. Middle of a freaking winter. A winter event, a blizzard. Boom, no power for weeks. People froze to death. You see how vulnerable these crops are. Our medical, they're taking everything away from that, and not only that is they're killing us, just outright killing us. Take a jab. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, well, take this test. Oh, you got COVID. Well, come on in, have a seat. Lay down. We're gonna put this tube down your throat and blow your lungs out. And we're going to give you drugs and what's it called? Resveratrol. Yeah. Resveratrol. Yeah. We're gonna blow up your heart and destroy your kidneys and give you brain damage. And eventually you'll die anyway. So, yeah. But everything is compromised. We live in a totalitarian regime. I mean, life is still good, for now, because the illusion is there. But they have infiltrated each and every municipality, all the way up, all the way down. It doesn't matter where you live, it's there in some make, shape, form, or fashion. It's a primate community is very essential to being able to operate and thrive and survive in these times. These are hard times, and now it's time to get hard. Time to get harder. Time to get harder than the hard times. Time to grow stronger, be smarter, be tougher. So, think about your food. How are you going to get food? Think about water. How are you going to get water? Think about power. How are you going to get power? Think about medical. What are you going to do about medical? I've been looking into that as well. Some of the things that we need, which I've taken the advice, and that's a nebulizer. And they're find doctors, find retired doctors, and a lot of them still operate. They still work, even though they're not licensed and whatever. You can still find doctors out there. Just think about Mexico. You can go to anybody can become a doctor. Of course, you won't trust him. But now, what is your charity? Ooh, I know, bacon. We cannot trust our medical professions anymore. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. It's bad. It's very bad. And it's all being suppressed. Oh, yeah, I know you're bacon. She got bacon fever. It's got to cool down. It's extremely hot right now. Fine. I'll show the good people what we got going on here. Bacon. Anyway, yeah. Charity requires her. She requires her bacon. Still kind of hot. Yeah, still kind of hot. You can't have that yet. I want to make a salad. I got some chicken and some onions and bell peppers, and I wanted to make some real bacon bits out of real bacon. So you stick it in the oven in a vent, and you drain all the bacon grease. It becomes very crumbly, very tasty. Okay, there you go. So, having a supply chain, logistics is very important. Bacon and coffee. Oh. So, having a supply chain set up growing gardens, hunting and fishing. The water supply itself. They're putting stuff in the water. I forget where it was. They're going to. They announced that they're going to kick up the fluoride in the water to alarming levels to fight something. Like, really? Yeah. It's in all places, and so the primate community only is as strong as the population of the community, and the secrecy and the resolve. It has, for there to be any kind of resistance, there has to be a general consensus with the community. And it has to be, there has to be meetings, there has to be talks, and we can't have this, technology, even this technology, all technology is compromised. Everything is compromised. So writing letters in code. I mean, who knows? Meeting at Joe's house and bring a quart of liquor and a side dish. We got a pig. We're roasting a pig. So, was that tasty? Oh, bacon! Bring bacon. Having that, and we faced that. You see throughout our history, we have fought enemies of lesser, they were tier 2, tier 3 society, but they had this primate community, and it was very effective. We've seen that in Vietnam. We've seen that in Afghanistan. We've seen that in a lot of places that we went, where you didn't know who was friend or foe. And that creates a lot of hesitation in the oppression, the oppressive government. Look to Russia, man, with their history. North Korea and South Korea. What they want is everyone to be like North Korea. Just absolutely total power and control, and starved and weak. And we're not those things. So we're very clever. We're very crafty. So our evolution and the future of mankind. This is a war for the future, and so we got to win that, and eventually people will wake up. The majority of the population will wake up, but will it be too late? Or do we just go, we'll just wait. And then we'll exercise our pew pew amendment rights. It'd be too late then. You're starved to death and you're dehydrated, you're freezing to death. And these guys are hanging out, and they've just had a big steak dinner, and it's the jackbooted thugs. They're always healthy, always well taken care of. That's another thing. You know, if you're going to fight the system, to beat the system, do you join the system? Well, that's what they want. They want you to join. They want you to sign up. You know, that's what they want. Everybody in lockstep. Operation Lockstep. Look that up. 2015, 14, I forget. But everything that's happened that was prescribed in Operation Lockstep is happening. So they're going full on with their plan. So we need to exact our plan. And part of that is establishing the primate community. So I've rambled enough. This has been Mad Shad. Encouraging y'all to continue to train, continue to prep, and don't worry, it's okay. We got this. We were actually made for this shit. So, yep, carry on, because it's a mad, mad world.